All right, hello and welcome. It's Jase, and welcome to Speakeasy with Jase for today. What is today? Wednesday, March 8th. Jeff, is there any way we get a little more light on you? Maybe raise the computer up too. So I'm super excited about our guest, Jeff Wilcox, today. An awesome friend of mine. He is one of my personal business coaches. He is a dear friend. He's also a relationship marriage expert. Betsy and I, as you guys know, have been through some tough, great times, and Jeff and his wife Joanne are actually some of our coaches, coaching us on how to make this thing better. And Jeff, just a really, really wonderful, great dude. So I am so glad to have him on the show. Welcome to the show, Jeff Wilcox.
Thank you, Jase. Thank you, everybody.
So, Jeff, can you give people a little bit of background on who you are, how you got to be here? Now, you sent me your bios and all that stuff, and I want you to share for two reasons. One, we're using a new platform. As you guys can see, we're on this thing called StreamYard. So it's new, and the reason we're on this, we're pushing out to multiple platforms at once, which is super exciting to me. The other reason, so I need to check the streams and make sure they're going, share them. But here's what I've seen. Here's what I know about you, that you have multiple streams of income, that you're a venture capitalist, that you've created multi-million-dollar companies, and that one of the things I love most is you're the first business coach I've seen who really brings God into it. It brings in source. And your marriage is amazing. You made a huge impact on my life. You're coachable, which is like such a gift to work with. Coachable. And you've written a book that's so packed with content that it's amazing. And the book's called 6 Controls, Run and Grow Your Business Without You. Sounds like Betsy just got here.
I think I hear Napa in the back there.
You know. So welcome, Jeff. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about you. And I'm going to check the streams. It's important, by the way, never cross the streams. In case you're not old enough to remember that, go watch Ghostbusters. But for everyone else, never cross the streams.
Yeah, I just proved my age. That was funny. Well, thank you, Jase. I really appreciate you having me on your stream today. My life has been an amazing turn of events. It's been just the life that I get to live now is so blessed. I firmly believe that through all life struggles that, I was really put here to help people identify that in life, every single obstacle that you come across can be turned into an opportunity, and every weakness that you have can be a strength. And so my mission in life really is to, as a warrior, I kind of slice my sword of love into people and help them identify that honestly and truly, wealth and abundance is already in them and around them. And all really I try to do is help them see it. Because once you can see something, you believe it. I mean, that's a little bit faithless in saying that, but when your own eyes tell you something, or you see something and it's there where it wasn't there before, you start to actually change the way that you think about things, and your beliefs start to change. And when you truly believe that wealth and abundance is actually around you and in you, and all you have to do is follow a certain process to live in it, then it happens. And that's kind of where I am today. And all that, I guess you could say that, I've had some amazing experiences in life where you could really say, hey, Jeff, you're amazing. You got that Superman cape and you stood on that mountain and look at you, and you've had all this success in the world. And I say, really, none of it made any sense to me until I really connected with my God and Savior. And sometimes I'll refer to that as the source or my source, just so I can have a conversation without getting terribly religious with people. But you have to understand that you can have all the great systems in the world and all the money and the financial gain and all that stuff, and without a connection to your source, it's all going to be empty. And so what we do is we kind of help people see a certain system about how to identify that wealth and abundance in their life. And mainly, well, I'd say primarily, it's through connecting with your source. So
Awesome. Very cool. So we got some people to say hello to. I see that Natalie Lavelock's watching and Brenda Maddox. Good to have you on. And then looks like it's working. We are actually live on YouTube as well, Jeff. You're our first kickoff guest to go live. We're stream right to live on YouTube as well. So let me see if I can see who else is watching right now and who's joined. Jolene Lehman is watching. Hi, Jolene. It's good to see you. Jolene's a dear friend from Salt Lake. Who else is watching? I can't see all the names right now, unfortunately. So here's what I want to have Jeff on the show today, you guys. And I'm going to lower the computer down. A lot of scarcity could be happening for people. Could be a scary time. Could be a lot of uncertainty going on for people. And I really want to give people a way to find some hope, some joy, some love, some. Who else is on? Telly Pena is on. Hi, Telly. And then someone named Facebook user is on. So,
hey, Facebook user, welcome.
Natalie says yes. Telly says amen. Facebook user says hi. Another Facebook user says hello. So thank you guys for being on. So you guys please do like and share out the stream. We want to send some love and encouragement to people. We're going to be on every day this week, same time. We got some other people joining in. Sarah Clark says hello. Hey, Sarah. Sarah's a fellow Black Belt member. I just did a coaching session with Sarah that was amazing. John Clausen says hi. John's a fellow Black Belt member. Good to see you, John. Oh man, this is so cool. So like I was saying is I want to bring in people like you to share some love, light, and encouragement, because people could be, people could be a little thrown off. And I have myself going in and out of over the last couple of days. Like one day I'm like, yes, everything's going to be great. And then the next day I'm like, oh my gosh, the sky's falling. And the next day, everything's great. The next day, the sky's falling. So, I want to talk to you about, because you said some things when we were just personally hanging out. You were like, look, we have to stay positive and we cannot let scarcity mindset enter at all. And you made this really telling comment that I love. You said that you're going to come out of this recession, you know what to do. And so people that are watching, I do not want to be a doom and gloom guy, and maybe there won't be a recession and the government's going to send out checks. And there's going to be something happening a little different. And the reason I say that is because, when you have, who else? We had another Facebook user says, hi, Christy Orlando. Hey, Christy Walker, Orlando, good to see you.
Hey,
Laura
Christy.
Bruce says, thanks for doing this. Laura, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys, please like and share the screen out so that people know what we're doing and what we have going on, and we can help a lot of people. So you said you know what you're going to do this time and how you're going to do it differently. And it really stuck in my ears. And so let me set up the context for this. You guys, if you cancel South by Southwest, that's hundreds of $1 million not happening in Texas. If you don't know what it is, it's a big conference that's there. If you if one takes away the NBA season, that's hundreds, probably billions of dollars in impact. The March Madness. Right now, Vegas, did you see that Vegas just shut down all casinos, bars, restaurants, everything's shutting down. So the big thing that I have a hard time getting my head around is there's a slowing down of if March Madness was going on, people would be flying to Vegas, spending money in casinos, people at home would be going out to restaurants and bars. It's not like that money has disappeared. It's just the flow has shifted. So I want to get your opinion on that. But then to set up for everybody, there's going to be, people who are in the live event business. A friend of mine is a photographer. He's probably the top photography company in Vegas. He said they just had about $47,000 worth of business dry up. Hey, Betsy, will you flip on that light and open that door for me, please? About $47,000 dry up in the last 10 days. And, so there's going to be impacts, but it doesn't mean their money's gone globally. So I want to get your opinion on that, and then also see what you think about, what are you going to do different, and how are you going to come out the other side of this thriving, which is probably my biggest question. And how can people survive right now?
Well, how much time do we have?
Really, we have as much. We did 4 hours the other day with Joanne, so we have pretty much as much as you want.
Well, I appreciate that. I have an appointment at 1:30 here Mountain Standard Time, so I'll have to bow out at some point. But first off, Jase, I really want to thank you for your tutelage and your counseling as it relates to your specialty. You're just an amazing promoter, speaking coach. It's been a while since I've met somebody who had such a strong kung fu. Now, yours is a keto, but you know what I mean. Just a strong kung fu. I've spent a lot of money on coaches and counselors working through my issues in my life, and I'm really happy to have, and surprised, not surprised because of who you are, but just because at my age, I'm 50 years old and I've been through a lot. And at some point you start to think, you know what, it kind of started to dwindle down what you can really be surprised that you don't know. And Jase has kind of brought that to the table with me. So Jase, thank you so much for the inspiration, the light that you cast upon me. For those of you who know Jase, he's an expert at really promoting his tribe and the people in it. And and knowing him personally, he does that out of pure love, which is pretty rare. So we're all blessed to have Jase and his special speaking council. So thank you, Jase. Well, let me tell you a little bit of a story. When I had an opportunity to go to Hong Kong it would be about 3 years ago. And we had this opportunity to go on this island jaunt in these 60-foot long white boats captained to these islands in the South China Sea. And when I was really looking forward to it, I was invited to go, and there was about 6 or 7 of us, 8 of us, and we went on this boat, and we were just having a great time. Now, I spent a lot of time in the Orient in the past, and the first island we came to, there was a Buddhist temple. And on that Buddhist temple, I've seen thousands of Buddhist temples. And so the group wanted to go see it. And I was like, you know what? We kind of had this Buddhist temple over here and this fishing village kind of on this crescent bay that I wanted to go see. And I was like, you know what? You guys go spend that. I want to kind of have some alone time and go walk over to this fishing village. And so on I went. And so over here where the Buddhist temple was, you kind of went back into this area where it was kind of jungly and you couldn't see, and then you would pop out at the fishing village. And so I went on that trek. It took me about 20 minutes to get over to the fishing village. And as I stood over on that dock and was looking out to where I can now see the Buddhist temple, I noticed that our boat that was docked and my party, including my wife, and my business partner and friend and his wife and the other couples that we were with, everybody was gone. They had disappeared. My boat was gone and they were gone. And so I'm in China. I don't speak Chinese. And all there is these people behind me in this fishing village who are eating lunch. And I don't really know what to do. I start to panic a little bit. I look to the left, I look to the right. Over on my right a little bit, there was a dock and there was another one of these boats, but it had a completely different roof on it. And I knew for certain that wasn't my boat. And so I'm like, I can't believe this. My wife is fantastic. I love Joanne. Sometimes because she's such a nice person, she can make a friend immediately. So in my mind, I'm thinking about that post-church experience where you're like, honey, come on, let's go home. And she's talking to all her friends. And next thing you know, notice the family and I are waiting in the car, waiting for her to come out. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, did Joanne forget that they weren't with me and they took off on the island? And as I started to come to my senses, I actually saw the white boat go around the point of the Crescent Bay. And I'm like, my gosh, where Joanne? And I'm like, they're hundreds of feet, maybe thousands of feet away from me. I'm yelling, Joanne, I'm right here. I'm right here. I can't believe everybody just took off on me. I mean, I can imagine they're talking, enjoying and laughing. They get on the boat. No one really counts heads. And maybe they think I'm down below or something. And they just take off. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? So I go up to the fishing village and I'm kind of talking in China English. I don't really know how to speak. And fortunately, there was a gal there who spoke a little bit of English. And I'm hand gesturing and slowly telling them that my party left me. And they're like, no, they didn't. I said, well, that's my boat. And it's going around the point. Ah! And they're like, and so she goes and she says, so she goes to the fishermen who are having lunch and she says, hey, can you help this guy out? And I don't understand what's going on. She's just talking about it. And so I'm like, okay. And she says, well, one of these guys, when they finish lunch in 5 minutes, it could have been forever. Then they'll take you out and go find the party.
Betsy's over here cracking up listening to your story. Betsy, come say hi to everybody real quick.
It's a little long-winded, but there's a big point I'm going to be making here, so hold on.
It's fantastic, but everybody, you got to see Betsy. Betsy's the best-looking part of this show.
Yes, she is. That is totally true. In fact, boom, there she is. Now I'm happy. Now I'm good. Now abundance is filling me and wealth is filling me. Thank you.
Okay, so 5 minutes seems like eternity.
Yeah, so 5 minutes feels like eternity.
They didn't count. One of the things I know you're big on is systems, and it sounds like they had no system for counting heads. So that's
yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what happened here, but my party's gone, and the only people who can help me are going to wait 5 minutes before they can take off. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll wait. So I wait 5 minutes, which feels like a million minutes, and we get in this 14-foot blue, low-sided, the kind of the outboard motor fishing boat. And he puts me in there. He's a little short Chinese guy. And just so you know, Chinese, they don't have a lot of emotion. So you really can't read their faces. And so we get in the boat and we start taking off. We go around that point and I'm looking in 3 different directions. And I see white dots in every direction. They're all far away enough to where I can't identify it's a white dot. So we just go take off. We go to the left and we get closer to that boat and nope, that boat's anchored and nobody's on it. So we go over to that boat and we're like, as I realize that's a huge boat and that's docked on, it's been grounded on another island way across the bay. And I'm like, okay, though that's got to be the boat over there. So we head over there and I'm looking at the boat, just kind of beelining it to the boat with my, kind of like Crockett and Tubbs in Miami Vice. That's probably an old reference, but we're bouncing along like a cigarette boat. It's only 14 feet long.
No clue. Oh, you did know he said Miami Vice.
Anyways, we're cruising along. I'm in this ridiculous striped shirt. I look like Popeye, and I'm 6'2", and I got this little Chinaman driving me around. And I didn't realize it, but there was a cutter that came across our bow, and I noticed it had a communist flag on it. Hong Kong, there's 2 governments there. And so I'm just, it's going by, and I'm looking over, and that's an interesting thing. That's a communist cutter there, and, border patrol. And then we're heading, all of a sudden, out of my peripheral comes this attack raft, the kind they beach on the Marines, they beach and they get on land with. So they're coming up as fast as they can. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of the South China Seas. The communists are coming towards me in my little boat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on here? I'm freaking out. I'm like, I'm probably not going to make it back without being in jail. I mean, what in the world? I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, they have machine guns. They're in this boat and they're coming to me and they're like, and I don't know what they're saying, but obviously they're saying, to the driver, slow down your vehicle or your boat so that you can be aborted, and I don't, it's all in Chinese. So I'm just assuming that. And so they pull up and they ask my driver for the papers and he gives them the papers. And then he said, and they're having a conversation, which obviously I can't understand, but I start to see these emotionless Chinese people these soldiers, these war-torn soldiers start to grimace and laugh. As the driver explains to them what's going on, that there's this dumb American who lost his party and his wife took off without him. So and I know it too. So I'm like, and so anyways, fortunately they didn't do anything. They laughed. They had a good laugh. They went back. We went back on. So I'm like, now our the last and final option that we had is even farther away because we basically have to chase it down. And so we get closer and closer and closer, and I realize that's not it either. So I'm totally lost. I don't know where my party is. They're totally gone. And so I motion to my driver, let's go back. So we go back to the fishing village, and I just sit there on the dock. I wonder how long I'm going to sit here. By the way, I didn't have a phone. My wife had her battery died, and she likes to take pictures, and I'd given her my phone. So I don't have a phone. And so I don't know what to do about it. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, how long is this going on? I start to look around. I start to get real with my situation. I'm in the South China Seas. I don't speak the language. I can't remember if I had my wallet, but I'm sure I didn't, to make the story better. I'm back here by myself. And I start to look around and I'm like, what happened? So I look across again at the temple, the Buddhist temple, and I look at that boat, and I started to look closer at that boat. And I realized the roof line of the boat that I thought was different was actually a cover that was attached to the dock. And I looked closer and I said, oh my gosh, that boat has the first mate in it. And I realized, oh my gosh, my boat has been sitting in front of my eyes the whole time. Now, the worst part, you're thinking, yeah, Jeff, you're an idiot. And I would agree, but who's going to believe this story? No one's going to believe it. I'm the only witness to the story. And the worst part of this is, and so I realized that my party had actually taken the same road that I had, because there was no discussion of the plan of what was going to happen. I just took off. I let them know where it's going. But what had happened is they were in that little area. The boat had come over. I didn't recognize it. And they had walked through that jungle area. So I didn't see anybody. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what happened. So I start going back on the path, and about 100 feet in, guess who I see? My entire party, my wife. And so I'm like, honey, you're not going to believe what happened. And I tell her, the short version of this story. And I'm kind of a jokester sometimes. And so she's like, right. And my friend and business partner's like, he's like, whatever, you're just making stuff up. And the only saving grace I had in this is, as we were walking on the dock to our boat, there was this huge peanut gallery uproar of laughter from 100 feet away of all the fishermen and villagers that had known what had gone on and were literally mocking me from a distance. And I knew in that it was a two-edged sword, because yes, they believe me, because the Chinese people don't laugh. And
was Joanne like
is a complete idiot?
Could she see them while laughing?
So that is really what's going on here. When you look at this pandemic, if you can kind of identify the fact that I was in total fear, and where I didn't know what was going on, I made it up myself. And that fear, we all know the acronym FEAR, false evidence appearing real, was really what I was falling into. I made this whole thing up out of my whole mind. The whole thing was made up. Was there concern? Yeah, there was concern. Was the situation real? Well, for me, it was real. Could I have been put in harm's way? Yeah, I could have been put in harm's way. But how much worse did I make it because I allowed fear to take over?
Right.
Absolutely. So how can people stop that fear? And one of the things I'd love, if you don't mind sharing it, is, when you talk about the ideal and the 3 parts of, if you could share some of that, I think that would be really, really wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. So a part of we have 3 principles that kind of flow into every conversation that we have. And it's made up of 3 parts. At some point, maybe Jase will send you this circle. It's very yin and yang circle, but it has these little teardrop shapes in it. And there's 3 of them.
Is it online anywhere? Because I could probably screen share it and show it.
Yeah, you can go to the ideal.com, ideal-ideal.com. I think it's on there. But basically all issues in life can be kind of identified, categorized, classified, and filtered into, and kind of dove into with these 3 basic understanding, these 3 basic principles. Number 1 is you got to have a system. So in this event that's going on, and notice I don't call it a pandemic or whatever. In this event that we're all experiencing with COVID-19, this is an event, and it's only if we start to make it worse than it is that becomes more than an event. And the system that I would use to kind of understand this event is threefold. That it's prepare, it's perform, and then it's prosper. And so get the information that you need to know. Get the information that you need to know. Know what it is, listen to the experts, and write down a few things so that you know what it is.
Hey Jeff, let me interrupt you real quick. Where should I go to on this for the?
No, just you. I wanted to show you the little wheel there. That's basically in that wheel is 3 parts, and we're talking about system right now. So the top one is system. I'm sorry, that's probably not what you're looking for, but hopefully that will give them idea. So all your issues in life and all the abundance and wealth that you want to have kind of is comprised in this little wheel here. So there's a system to understanding and thriving in this event. So system is one to talk about. Then you have to have a place where you can learn and understand and grow, and through trial and error, learn how to process yourself through this event, because this event is here for you right now for specific, abundant, and wealthy reasons. I know it's hard to hear that when there's so much fear and mongering going on, but when you understand that your environment, when you have an environment that allows you to settle down and be peaceful, it's going to allow you to kind of haphazardly learn what you need to learn. But if you're in the blender, so to speak, if you're constantly in front of the TV and learning about stuff, and you're like talking to your friends and you're bringing it up all the time, you're kind of destroying your peace. And so understand the system of how to interact with this event. And 2, make sure that you're in a peaceful place so that you can learn and be calm and identify those who are learned and calm and giving good advice, and then basically follow their advice. The third one is make sure that you maintain or improve your connection with your source. And so even if you know what to do, and even if you have a place that's semi-peaceful where you can pause and get counsel and learn, if you can only go so far if you don't have a connection with your source, which basically should tell you that you're not in control. There's only so much you can do. That this event is for your benefit. And there's something here for you to learn. That's what connection to your source and your higher power, mine being Heavenly Father and God. That's what that helps me realize, is that I'm really not in control. This is His stage. He allows certain things to happen for my benefit. I strongly believe that. Nice. And that anything, no matter, death, pestilence, viruses, fear, scarcity running amok, those are all events to teach you something that your source wants you to know. So some of you might be thinking, you know what, Jeff, I don't have a strong connection with the source. I don't really know God or whatever. That's okay. But you will be able to recognize this cycle. And here's the cycle. Well, let me come back to that real quick.
Okay.
You're without a connection with your source, you're going to see over and over and over again that this actually isn't the first time that you've experienced this. It may look like it's a pandemic, and it may look like you don't have any control and that it's going to run amok, but this is something like this has happened to you before.
Yeah, let's jump into that real quick. Like, I know for sure for me, I have had, the recession happened roughly, 12 years ago now. Right. Then right before the recession, I had my own personal recession, like a depression, right, all that. Right. And then there's been different times the money has just gotten tight, or things have gotten squirrely. One of the things we were talking about yesterday on the call is I was looking at how in the Bible it says, I'm going to paraphrase, but roughly it says, count it as joy when you have adversity, because adversity grows your faith and grows your strength. so that you're ready. And so, last year in July, I broke my leg. And then February, leading an event, a personal development event takes a lot of energy. And then we had this stuff go on between us that was challenging. So while this thing's a big deal, part of me feels like, I got God and I've been through worse. It's going to be okay. And what's interesting too, when we talk about equipping you, emotionally, physically, financially, mentally, I am better equipped. And think of it, Betsy we talked to some friends in the community we built, some of the writing on the wall, and instead of just sitting there, Betsy's like, let's go do these things to prepare. And so physically and financially, we have the tools to put things in place so that we can survive and thrive during these times. So I want to keep going, and I do want to segue into how do we survive and thrive during these times?
Sure.
Like as the next part.
Yeah. And I'm right there. So kind of wrap up those three principles, and the lesson that, depending on what your connection with your source is understand that you have been through a circumstance that's very similar to this. The people are different. The environment is different. The warnings are different. But if you really look at it, this has happened to you before. The fear and the panic that can come from a situation like this, you felt it before, and probably just as strongly. It's just, it looks different. And if we're not careful, we can't see that. Well, what that is your source basically telling you that there's something here you need to learn. And so when you learn that, and an event like this happens again, it's like, I've already been through this. I know the lessons that come from this. Yeah. Thank you for giving me the event before. When you have that system, the serenity and the source, you'll weather through anything in wealth and abundance. Nice. Wealth and abundance means spiritually, financially, relationally, in all aspects of your life. And so you kind of have to accept that before you start getting into the system of how to survive COVID-19. Mm-hmm. So if you can't grasp those principles, then you can only go so far. And without that connection with your source, you're not going to realize that this is really an event that's meant to help you. And so, but I'm going to die, Jeff. I'm going to die if I don't keep my hands washed and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to die. Well, or maybe someone you love is going to die. But even in death, there's things that you get to learn. And that's the beauty. And when you realize that in your life that you don't have that kind of control to stop your death, that there's only so much you can do, then you surrender to that connection and the wealth and the abundance that surrounds you. Yeah. So it's kind of a dichotomy. I'm scared to death. I need to give it all up.
What were you saying? No, what were you saying?
I said it's true.
That's it. Well, hey, let's do some shout outs real quick. Christy, Orlando, Betsy, Bob Heron, Natalie, Ricky Davis Lang, Telly Pena, Brian, because Brian said, are there many Chinese comedians? He said that a while ago. Laura Rosa, Allison Trevino, Sanket Mehta, Telly Pena. Telly looks like you're jumping in and out. So does Natalie. So it's good to have you guys on either way. Yeah, Jeff, this is great. And that's one of the things, you guys, when you're connected with source, which is the most important thing, everything else will shake out. And if you're not connected with source, you guys, I want to invite you just to say a prayer. Just pray for, God to just wrap you in his loving arms. Pray for confidence and let your decisions be made out of there. Something one of my mentors said to me a long time ago was, he said that what happens for a lot of people is they make their life-changing choices and decisions in a rough time in their life. And so what that means is they're making the decisions on how the rest of their life will be from a valley. And that's a huge mistake, that you want to make your life-changing decisions from a mountaintop, like from your best life. And so the only way I know to play to my best life, even when things are rocking, it can, like in a good way, it can feel like the ship is rocking in a bad way if I'm not connected with God. But if I'm connected with God at any time, things can feel better. So you guys just pray for connection with God, pray for God to connect you. I'd love to wrap up this when we'll wrap up about 5 after. I'd love to have you pray us out when we go there. And Yeah, so keep us going. So keep going. What are you gonna do different? And I know you want people to have that source serenity system. What are you personally gonna do different that's gonna allow you to thrive as we go?
Well, the system for coming through this event is really prepping. So there's 3 steps: prep, perform, and then prosper. So we have to get to the prosper point. There's 2 things we must do, because your source isn't going to allow you to bypass the learning here. There's something to learn here. And very generally speaking, for everybody, it's how are your preparations? Now, many people have been struggling to get the toilet paper and the sanitation, as have I, but my shelves were already full. There was gas in my tank. I have a 1 and 3 year food storage that just basically by understanding abundance and wealth, there has to be some level of preparation. So don't try to excuse that. Don't try, because if you go to a place of like, well, I'm not ready, I'm unprepared, and instead of fearing, I'm just going to ignore it all, that's just as dangerous almost as fearing, because you have a false sense of security. So make sure you're prepared. And then listen to what the experts are saying. Don't go crazy. Like, once you understand the 7 things that you have to do to keep yourself as safe as possible, then just do those things. It takes a little time to remember to wash your hands as much as possible, and do not touch things in public, and all that kind of stuff, and keep your 6 feet away. Do those things.
Wait, you just said 7 things. What are these 7 things, Jeff? Are these things?
Want me to get specific? I think we've heard them. In fact, you might have to help me, because I don't have the list right in front of me.
Well,
so wash your hands, sanitize yourself in public areas, avoid contact with people, at least stay 6 feet away, right? Help me out. Don't touch your face. Drink water is one that I heard. Make sure you keep that blood, and that if you do get the virus, make sure you got lots of water in you to keep it flowing. I mean, you help me out. What am I missing?
Okay. I didn't know if these were other things like that you're making up. Yeah, so I just Googled it real quick. It just says, just wait. I thought there was like a general 7 things like for all the time you think of, but you're talking about.
If I said 7, there's probably 100. So, but you're doing good if you know what you're to do and not to do. We can't dismiss that. So that's all I'm saying. That's what you need to perform. The issue is if you have if you're just pushing it away and creating a false sense of security for yourself, you're going to put other people in harm's way, and you might be not allowing the lesson of discipline. Like, some people have the hardest time changing their habits. Well, here you have a lot of motion to do that, and if you can learn to change some of your habits right now, how much easier is that going to be when it's not all falling down on top of you to change other habits that would be good for you? So, and identify the motivation that fear actually can have on you. It's like, you know what? I really do need to wash my hands more. I really do need to make sure and check my wellness more.
I touch my face all the time.
Don't touch your face more. Stop thinking about things, So you understand what I'm saying? So just, don't ignore that stuff. But the things the performance, or the things that you should not perform, is once you get the basis, you can check in every once in a while to see, that Wuhan, China is starting to clear up. You can check in every once in a while, but do not sit in front of the TV where the fear is being mongered and allow yourself to get stuff churned up inside you. Because there's no abundance in that, because that's not preparation or good performance. So you got to watch, you got to have a prosperous mindset as you go through this. Now, I'm not saying that an event's going to happen to you that isn't going to rock your world. But even in that, instead of saying, "Oh, I don't want this to happen to me," say, "You know what? I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to perform. No matter today, I'm going to start today and do better." And what you're going to allow is your source and your connection with your source to really exponentially bless you on whatever efforts you put into it. It's, there's this saying that says, well, I get God's grace just by being me. And that's true to a sense. But what you're kind of missing is the promise that comes from prepping and performing allows you to have an exponentially magnified peace and prosperity that happens.
I love that.
It's not just, hey, I'm prepping, I'm performing, I'm feeling better. It's like, oh my gosh, I love this feeling. I love this. It feels the same way when you got $100,000 in your bank. It feels the same way when you got your retirement taken care of. It feels the same way when you're spending less than you make.
Yes.
It's the exact same feeling. So I know you felt it before.
Yeah.
But the connection with your source exponentially improves it. He's in charge. I'm not in charge. I'm just a good steward and servant of the information and the resources that he's given me. And whatever, it's like the parable of the talents. If I take my talents and I bury them, then I don't get much back. But if I put them out there, I exponentially, it multiplies to me in everything, in energy, in time, and money. And so I know that's not hard to believe, but it might be difficult to actually put into your person. And so frequenting this kind of philosophy in your mind and realizing when you're in fear that there is a process of check your preparations, make sure you're performing, and then just put on that mindset of prosperity. And no matter what happened to you, I guarantee you're going to have a blessed and miraculous life.
That's awesome.
No matter what it is.
True.
So so have that. So 3 principles, and then these 3 steps in your system that you need to understand. And if you want to, Jase, I can apply how that works with my strategy for actually coming out of this financially so much better off than going into it if you want.
Please do. I would love to hear that.
So here's what happens. Here's what past events have taught me is that when the supply and demand curves start to turn down, like demand goes down and supply goes up, what you don't see a lot of times, and then people start to get fearful and scared. You just pretend that you're on that boat, or you're not on the boat. You're watching the boat go around the corner, right? There's a certain level of freaking out that happens, and so what the word that I want to coin here is certainty or uncertainty. And so as people start to freeze up, it's because of uncertainty has entered into their life. They don't know where they are. That fear starts to take over, and they no longer have certainty, so they stop. And so there's a little bit of a wave that washes through here, and we're kind of in it right now with all the shutdowns and all that kind of stuff. But what's going to happen, and I believe it's in between 3 and 6 months based on what I'm hearing, but don't, prep, perform. Is what's going to happen is there's a time when that is starting to level out, and the people who have money, who are going to start to realize, you know what, I'm okay. And a certain level of certainty is going to be reestablished in their life. And I'm going to call these the sophisticated financial people who have learned to save, have learned to prep, who have taken on the principles of wealth and abundance, and they have the money, and they have the house, and they have the lifestyle that allows them to not be so worried. So when the rest of the world starts to cave, I get this in the screen here, when they start to cave and it starts to level out, everybody starts thinking the sky is falling, except for the people who have the resources. And so they've actually learned that when times are down, that's when their resources get expanded and extended to the most. And so when they go down, the certainty crowd, or the people who are sophisticated and have learned certain tactics of wealth and abundance, they start to open up their pocketbooks, and there's nobody. I gotta get the screen right here. There's nobody who can serve them. Like, for example, if you look at the company Melaleuca, I mean, they're a company, but let me back up. Don't fool brains in a bull market. Anybody in the current market before COVID-19 could close the deal. They could sell. Everything could be fine. But don't confuse that with brains. When the market's going up, everybody wins, no matter how dense you are.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to start going down here. And the people who are prepped and ready are going to suffer the storm, wait for that to start to flatten out.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be an emergence of people who need help, who have the resources. And if you're in business, or you're if you're in a position to wait out that storm and not have fear in your life, you're going to see an abundance of opportunities that rise from the dust out of that. And so here's what I would do if you're in business, or you're managing a company, or you can make some sort of impact in your organization, is start changing your marketing plans to include certainty. So because the people who know what's going on, they're looking at all the desperation. They're going to see that this guy quit his job at some big, manufacturer, and now he's in landscape maintenance just because he knows how to mow lawns, because he can no longer be hired as an engineer. And so he's just going to go do whatever. And people will see, you'll start to see certain oversaturations of services by people who have no idea what they're doing. But the sophisticated people see that. They see that in the truck that gets driven up. They see that in the conversation that's being had over the phone. They see it in, maybe virtual meetings, just little things that aren't even consciously noticeable, but they breed uncertainty. And so they're like, you know what? I'm going to keep looking. And so if you can carry that mindset of prosperity, abundance, and wealth through this, I'm going to call through this little event that we're having, and look at that event like it's your friend, that weird friend that you have that is kind of annoying, but you come over, you have your tea, and you kind of pat them on the butt and set them on their way. That's how I want you to look at this. I realize that when that little 3 or 6 month friend goes away, that there's going to be great opportunities to go out and find other friends and get it back out there in the world. And so in a nutshell, that's really what it is wait, connect with your source, learn the things that you need to do, follow the pandemic survival system that we just mentioned, and then be ready for the upturn. Because if you're there and ready, even right now, there are businesses that will never open their doors again because they weren't prepped and they weren't willing to perform.
Yeah. So real quick, a couple of shout outs to people. Telly said, get some exercise, fresh air. She also said, Betty, no te diga la carita linda. What does that mean?
I'm not sure what she's referencing. I have to see the context.
It was probably a comment on what we're saying. And then Linda, I think, was commenting on how when the economy's good, everybody can be successful. And Linda said, even blind squirrels find nuts. So yeah, there's differences who and how you're doing in the moment. So Jeff, do you have anything that you do in the moment to get you refocused? Or if you find yourself starting to spin, or if you find yourself starting to get negative thought process or whatever, what do you do?
Well, that's a really good question. There's in our instruction in counseling and coaching people, we talk about the learning pattern, and there's a process. This process we talked about isn't something you can just step in and do automatically. It's going to take a few times, could be as many as 10 hours of trying to get yourself in the right mind. You have to break from the fear. And so remember the story that I told you, how it wasn't real. You have to be able to say to yourself in a pattern break, this isn't as I'm filling in the holes with fear. I can feel it. You can feel the fear start to absorb you. When you feel that, you just kind of have to tell yourself affirmations. This isn't real. Remember the process that I have to go through and be ready. Remember that if I'm not certain about what's going on, where's my preparations? Where is my performance? And then go back to the 3 abundance and wealth principles. How is your connection? Calm yourself in serenity and follow your system.
Awesome.
So let me make sure.
It's really making that pattern break, and then realizing that you're kind of consciously competent in what you're supposed to do, but it's going to take for some time for you to learn to actually get where that behavior is routine. And learning is like that no matter what you do. No magic pills. No magic pills. Do the work. Have somebody help you and hold you accountable,
Yeah.
And then when you're in your worst spot, reach out for help and get that person to help you go through it and remember what you've learned.
Cool. So let's do some, I want to come to you 1 second. So Kelly said, don't touch your beautiful face. Is that what why did you say Linda? Is she talking to me?
No.
You're Linda? Don't touch your beautiful face, Linda. And then Linda said yes. So, and also we got viewers, guys, just so you know, if you're watching, we're pushing to multiple platforms at once. So it's really cool. Is we have people watching right now in our Profitable Presentations Club, on my fan page, and on my personal page. Either way, you guys, please like and share. Mash that like button. It helps more people see this. We want to be hope, light, love, and encouragement. And also share this stream. Tag someone or share it out. Just share it to your story or your stream. And what did you want to share?
Oh, I just wanted to make sure that it lands on my end, what Jeff is saying. So Jeff, what you're saying is that if we find ourselves prepping and changing our performances and we're prospering, but then we hit a state of concern or worry,
Yeah.
that we need to go back and make sure that we're prepared and that we're performing to be able to then hit that point of continuous prosperity. Am I hearing you?
Yeah. Nice.
Yes, and very good. The third step, prosperity, is really a mindset of understanding your source and that you're not in control and that you will exponentially be blessed based upon the efforts that you do in preparation and performance. And just accept that you're going to be blessed. Well, it's going to be better than if you panic.
So I wore today on purpose. And one of the things I say in business, in my trainings, is your business can only be as good as you. And when I talk about speaking, by the way, real quick, some shout outs. Heidi Marie joined, Rebecca Albrecht joined, Telly Pena keeps coming and going, and Telly gave us our translation again. She said, yeah, and what she was doing is translating that. So good to see all of you guys. Do please like that, mash that like, love, laugh button in to share. So here's the thing that I wanted to share that I talk about in presentations. Like there's 3 parts of profitable presentation: great script, great delivery, and a great you. Because what's in you is magnified on stage. And I think I could retool that very easily to say a business is, knowing how to sell, having your systems in place, having great product in place, but then it all comes down to you. And your business can only be as good as you. So if you're rocked, your business will be rocked. If you're insecure, your business will be insecure. If you're confident, your sales will be confident. And so the reason I wore this shirt today, and I'm so grateful for, is every January we do a 4-day breakthrough event, and we talk about realizing that how you see life isn't the truth, what you choose is the truth, and that a lot of the crap we've believed growing up isn't the truth. It's what we want to create is the truth, and what God says is the truth. And so I'm sitting here so grateful that at least part of my tribe got to go through that training. So mentally and emotionally, they are more grounded and stronger, and they are physically, emotionally, mentally stronger today than they would have been without it. So that in this time when leadership's needed, when confidence is needed, when people could go sideways and spin, they're centered. And it's really interesting. Like, I hope it's okay to talk about this. Like, I had one of the roughest days of my life, February 9th or 10th. And so just over a month ago. But coming out of that, it really made me look at what I believed about life, what I believed about myself, and plug in with God even more. And so when this stuff comes down the pike, it's like, I'm okay. And let's do some other shout outs real quick. Joanne says, oh, look at this wonderful lady. My cue is I decide how I feel on sticky notes to remind me I have control of me. By the way, if you've ever been to Joanne's house, she has these beautiful label maker notes all over the house, like on every door. Remember who God made you to be and things like that. They're wonderful. Did you want to give that person a shout out, Jeff?
Oh, yeah. Big time. Sweetest woman in the world, angel of my life, my rescuer, my confidant, and really the hottest beauty queen, wife, mother of 9, amazing person anybody could ever be around. So, again, sorry.
And then Sandy Delian says, hola, Betsy. Hola, Betsy. And Joanne says, blushing. That's awesome. So, all right, so let's keep going. So then, Jeff, do you have specific plans in place for when this comes out, or in 3 to 6 months you're going to start looking for opportunities, or what is your thought on all of this?
Well, right now I'm prepping. I have the even if I didn't have the resources to kind of wait it out, I would still be prepping. I would not just be prepping my food storage, or just performing the anti-COVID-19 system, but I'm preparing and performing in my business. And so, for example, just little things like this, and no one's going to really do this, but I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to watch my kids? They're, everybody's out of school. I got to watch my kids, and I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to go back to work because I have to watch my children. Well, you know that there's about a whole school full of like 12 and older, maybe 16, if you really, you're not confident, of babysitters who actually are doing nothing, who can come watch your child. You might have to pay them $25 a day, and they might get 4 kids to come in and make 100, and they're going to be happy. And so when you get over the issues of, oh, there's not enough, I'm not prepared, I'm not good enough, and the value, your personal value starts to be attacked. When you put that away and you realize, all I have to do is prep and prepare and perform, then you start to realize that there's opportunities everywhere. Opportunities are everywhere. And so for me in my business, like we just started a construction company, and we're launching it in May 15th, with a pre-launch, and then a full launch, a grand opening in August. And we're putting together the systems. We're making sure that we have a mature company. And I'm anticipating on May 15th, we're going to have a backlog of a year, just simply because of how many people have closed their doors and how much certainty that we're going to be able to show through our marketing stuff to be able to pick them up. And so that's me processing my own stuff and putting it out there. Also, as a speaker and a coach, I'm assuming by adjusting my message to how I apply to events like COVID-19, that there's going to be certain people who want me to come and speak with them, and that will open up coaching opportunities. Now, because of my partnership with people who are much more resourceful and better at finances than me, and the blessing that they have been in my life, I am able to weather this storm from a financial perspective. I feel blessed. I know not everybody is able to do that. So that allows me to be a little calmer, a little more easier. You might be saying, well, Jeff, you have money, so you're going to be fine. But the fact of the matter is people who do have money aren't fine. They're freaking out. They're wondering if the shoe's going to fall. Is this the time when all my efforts have fallen off? And I'm, what am I to do? I worked so hard to build this thing, and I've done well, but what is this going to do to all my efforts? And that kind of stinking thinking, it's like walking forward and looking backwards, or trying to drive with only you're looking at your rear view mirror. And the abundance and opportunity are here and now.
Yes.
They're here and now. All you have to do is put the fear aside, prep, and perform yourself into a higher level of abundance and wealth through the process that we talked about. So was that specific enough, or is that too general?
Totally. So here's some things I'm doing, and then I would invite you guys. Anything you want to chip in? So a couple things, you guys. Amazon, we read this report. We thought it meant that Amazon was stopping non-essential shipping. What they're doing is stopping non-essential shipping to their distribution centers. But what's interesting is in this time, Amazon is they're hiring 100,000 people. So like there's opportunity. And then I think it was Amazon one of them is raising their raise from 15 to 17 an hour to compensate people for working these times. So there's, people are talking about, like, if they're really freaking out and they just got to get a job, there's jobs happening. There's always jobs happening. And then one of the things I want to encourage the people who are watching that are coaches or have information marketers, it's time to get online. So you guys, I'm going to do some quick ads when we're talking about opportunities, or opportunities when we're talking about opportunities. So I'm putting together a package right now, you guys. If you have something, like if you're a coach, you need to get online and start coaching through Zoom or some other platform. And we're putting together packages right now where you could get online as fast as possible. So I have an expert in product creation who will help you map out and get your product done so that you can deliver it online, either record it or do like an 8-week class. I'm also teaming up with experts and putting together funnels and online marketing. And then I'm going to work with you on your sales pitch and how to do webinars to get this thing sold. So the 3 things you need, which is your product, your presence online, and then your really good pitch. We're going to get all of those together and get you rocking as fast as possible so you can keep developing leads. And who knows, you're going to sell at whatever price point, and then you're also going to be positioned that when the market turns, you're going to be popping big time. Oh, I like that. Your presence, your pitch, your product, so you can pop. Boom. So that's a place. And then on a totally separate note, just talking about fun, I went out. So one of our friends who kind of turned us on to, could be in lockdown, and you guys, we could. And I like to drink beer sometimes. So I went out yesterday and I bought some beers. So I've stocked up on beer too. But I reached out. I had this idea and I'll tell you the idea in a second. And I was mulling it over. And then yesterday I got a text from a local brewery, and I'm in their membership program. And it said, hey, we're now doing curbside pickup and delivery. And so I was like, well, that's what I was thinking about was this idea. So I called them up and I pitched them on this idea. And here's what it is there's, I think one of the main reasons people go out to breweries and stuff is it's one, they like beer. 2, the vibe at a brewery is different than a bar. It's more about the conversation, the beer, it's mellow. And so the conversation and the social aspect is a big part of it. So I reached out to the brewery and I said, let's do Friday night beers. And what we do is every week we deliver people a beer, a 6-pack or whatever it is. And then we do a Zoom and people can hang out and chat and have beers together. So I reached out to them, and then I reached out to another thing that does like a membership around town. And I don't know if I'm going to make any money out of this. I'm really not worried about it. But I think it'll give people on a Friday night who are looking for a way to connect, a place to connect, come together. It'll keep the brewery in business, keep those people employed, keep people safe at home. And then they'll have a chance to connect with some love and light and some fun conversation. And so the reason I'm bringing that up, you guys, that's just fun for me. And that'll just be a good time. But who knows what that could leverage into. And if I pick up a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand people locally who now get to know me from having a beer together, when it's time for me to start launching out business in May and June, when things start picking up again, now I have relationships with a couple hundred to a couple thousand local people, and then they're going to be looking for stuff to do live. They're going to be looking for live social things. They're going to be looking for fun. And maybe some of them are business owners as well who might be like, I like this Jase dude. How do I do more with him? So the reason I'm saying all that, I want to encourage you guys, just think about what would be fun and what we would like to do. Joanne, Jeff's wife, was showing us, she has someone she follows on Instagram that's from Boise who's a local fitness expert. And this woman posts like Instagram videos about different exercises. And that woman's going to do a Zoom exercise class today. So she's going on Zoom. So you guys, if you have something, start offering it, putting it out there, and giving people ways to connect. Some more shout outs. Who do we have? Carla Hernandez. Is that a friend of yours?
Yeah.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Does she speak Spanish?
Well, yes.
Do you want to say it in Spanish?
No.
We want to hit a more multilingual. I like it.
Becky, why weren't you translating while I was speaking? Why weren't you just?
If translation is needed or interpretation needed, please let me know.
Robert Torres, good to see you. And Bianca Perez, is that a friend of yours?
Hi, Bianca. Yes.
Hola, Bianca. ¿Cómo está? ¿Está usted bien? Muy bien.
Bianca's going to give you a snappy.
Linda says preaching. Wait, I don't want a snappy. I want a pussy, but only from her. A beso. A beso. A pussy is German. Beso is Spanish. Right?
What are you talking about?
A beso is a kiss.
Okay. Sorry.
And then, that was lame. I get this is how you kiss.
She's performing. She's performing. That's how you perform.
This is how you kiss in the days of Corona, right?
This is how you give a hug.
Yeah. All right, we're about at our time, guys. Real quick, open floor. Does anyone have a question? And Linda said, yes, preach it. Anybody have a question, comment before we go? Jeff, how can people get in touch with you?
You can get a hold of me on my in my email address. It's Jeff R. Wilcox 6S, like the number 6 letter S at gmail.com. You can also give me a call at 208, or not a call, but text me at 208-941-6875.
Jeff is amazing. I don't know if you went over this already, but Jeff and his wife do our marriage counseling, and they have been lifesavers for us. Truly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I have yet to be able to see Jeff in action with everything else that he does, but we've done some teachings with him, and those have been amazing. He has info for a whole year, and he sat down with him from 8 to 5. So you can,
if I can help anybody see the abundance in this situation, that's my mission here. So if you need help, please call me and
what's the name of the book, Jeff? I forgot the name of your book.
6 Controls, Run and Grow Your Business Without You. It's a $50 book. All mine is on Amazon. It's a $50 book, but it comes with an hour of coaching. So if you want to buy my book, you can find it on Amazon under Jeff R. Wilcox, author. 6 Controls, Run and Grow Your Business Without You.
I'll put that into the chat. There we go. Run and Grow Your Business Without You. $50 book, Jeff. What's up? That's an expensive book.
Comes with a never session with Jeff.
It's expensive because it saves you millions of dollars in mistakes. That's why it's like that. Plus, you get to talk to me, so that's worth $1 million right there.
Hopefully that thing I just posted in there, that works. That link I just posted. I'll also put Jeff's info into the chat. You guys, give me a second. I'm learning how to do all these chats and comments and stuff.
Thank you so much, Jase. I appreciate it.
What's in the book? Tell us real quick what's in the book.
Just quickly, it's basically how to systematize your startup or your existing business. Teaches you the mentality that you have to have, the management style you'll need, the mentality you'll need to be an entrepreneur and a businessman, and then gives you some basics on how to systematize your business in marketing and admin and operations. And so it's kind of a way of not falling into a bunch of pitfalls, especially for those people who are struggling with, do I want to start a business? Or they're in a business and they're like, man, I didn't know it was going to be all this. That's the kind of people I would like to read it. So, and you can get a hold of me.
If you guys knew what it would take to grow your business, would you have done it? I always think about that. Like if you really knew.
I wish I would have had more preparation and performed more before I got started.
So Diane moved on, unfortunately, and I'm super happy for her. She did, and I'm now going through Jeff's training so that I can have a system in place for hiring someone the next time. Laura Killebrew says, let me go back to comments here. She says, great session. Thanks. Laura, you're welcome. Thank you. So Jeff, how about this? Will you take us out with a prayer? And for all of you watching, I don't know what religion you are. I don't know what orientation you are. And it doesn't matter. You, the God that I believe in, and the God she believes in, and the God he believes in, loves you immensely. I think my God would say this to you. And this is the thing I have on my wall. And it says, come at evening or at morning, come unexpected or without warning. 1,000 welcomes you'll find here before you, and the oftener you come, the more we'll adore you. God loves you. He just wants to help you and connect with you. And, if you're in a rough time, guys, reach out to us. And so, Jeff, please take us out with prayer. And for all of you guys at home, you have been called for a time like this. I believe that my tribe right here, I think a lot of times we're preaching to the choir, we're preaching to the other preachers here, and that you are already people who are on fire. You are people who are changing the world. You are people who are making a difference. So keep doing it. God, the world needs you to step up, and God wants to work through you. As the lyrics of one of my favorite songs says, listen up, I got a question here. If anybody would anybody miss you if you disappeared? where your life is the song you sing and the whole wide world is listening. And another verse he talks about, God is love and love speaks through you. So Jeff, thanks for being on here and letting God speak through you. And for you guys at home, go speak. God needs to speak through you. There's someone who needs you to show up to be hands and feet and salt and light and love in this world. So Jeff, one last thing. Linda says whoosh, and then take us out in a prayer.
I'd be happy to. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for our blessings this day and the opportunity we have to meet each other through this technology. We're thankful for the abundance and the wealth and the energy that surrounds us. Please help us see the path which Thou wants us to walk, and help us to relinquish and surrender control to Thee. Please help us feel Thy presence as we prepare and perform, and help us to carry a mindset of love and prosperity as we move ahead and help others. And these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you.
Love you. Thanks, Jeff. Bye, everybody at home. We love you guys. Please like and share. We'll see you tomorrow and Friday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Brooke.
All right.